The golden light of the afternoon sun shimmered across the surface of the hotel pool, scattering diamonds of reflection on the surrounding white tiles. The air smelled faintly of jasmine and sunscreen, the typical scent of late summer at the Blue Lagoon Resort. Maya had worked at the resort for almost 3 years. She was known for her quiet charm, polite, observant, always smiling. But there was something about her eyes that made people pause. They were calm and deep, like she carried a whole story behind them, one she never told. That day, she had just finished arranging towels on the poolside chairs when she noticed him, a tall man in a crisp white shirt and sunglasses, standing by the water, his gaze fixed on the horizon. He wasn't one of the regulars. His presence was still, too still. She hesitated before walking closer. "Good afternoon, sir," she said politely. "Would you like a drink menu?" He turned slowly, and for a brief moment, their eyes met. His were a stormy gray, distant, searching. "No, thank you," he replied softly. "I'm just waiting for someone." Maya nodded and stepped back, though curiosity itched in her chest. Something about his tone carried weight, like his words had a history. For the next hour, the man remained by the pool. He barely moved. Guests came and went, laughter, music, splashes, but he stayed still, watching the still water as if it might answer a question for him. When Maya passed again, he spoke suddenly, startling her. "Do you believe people can meet again after years and still feel the same?" She blinked, unsure how to respond. "I think if the feeling was real, time doesn't matter," she said carefully. "It just waits." He smiled faintly, a quiet, painful smile. "You sound like her," he murmured. "Her?" Maya asked before she could stop herself. He didn't answer. Instead, he took off his sunglasses, revealing eyes filled with something she couldn't quite define. Grief, maybe. Or guilt. "My name's Ethan," he said after a pause. "I used to come here a long time ago. Before everything changed." Maya wanted to ask more, but her supervisor called her name from the lobby. She excused herself, yet her mind stayed with him. There was something haunting about the way he looked at the pool, like he was staring at a memory that wouldn't fade. As evening fell, the resort lights came on, soft golden bulbs reflecting off the calm blue water. Maya returned to the pool area to collect the last of the glasses. Ethan was still there. "You're closing up?" he asked. "Yes, sir. The pool closes at 8. He nodded slowly. "It's strange. This place used to feel so alive. I came here with someone once. She used to say this pool was her favorite place in the world." Maya sat down at the edge of a chair, her curiosity breaking through her professional calm. What happened to her? Ethan looked at the darkening sky. "She left. Or maybe I did. I'm not sure anymore." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small seashell pendant on a chain. It was worn, the silver slightly tarnished. "She dropped this by the pool one summer night. I never returned it." Maya's gaze softened. "Maybe she's waiting for you too." He smiled again, that same sad, knowing smile. "Maybe. But some people wait too long." The air grew cooler. A light breeze rippled across the water. For a moment, Maya thought she saw something flicker in his expression, regret mixed with something else. "I used to think love was a choice," Ethan said quietly. "Now I think it's more like gravity. It pulls you back no matter how far you try to go." Maya didn't know what to say. Her chest tightened with something unspoken, a strange connection she couldn't explain. Before she could reply, a distant sound broke the silence, the sharp ring of a phone. Ethan checked his pocket but didn't answer. The ringing stopped, and he sighed. "It's her," he said softly. "After all these years, she's back. She said she'd meet me here." Maya's heart skipped. "She's coming here? Tonight?" He nodded. "She said sunset. But maybe she changed her mind. Maybe she shouldn't come at all." She wanted to comfort him, to say something reassuring, but the words caught in her throat. Finally, she asked, "What if she does come? What will you tell her?" He looked at her with eyes full of old memories. "The truth," he said, "that I never stopped waiting." The lights reflected in the water like trembling stars. Maya stood there silently, feeling something stir inside her, a strange ache, as if Ethan's story had reached into a part of her own heart she thought she'd buried long ago. She watched him walk toward the far edge of the pool, his figure blending with the silver light of the moon. He looked both lost and found at the same time. Later that night, when she returned to her small staff room, she couldn't sleep. The image of Ethan by the pool replayed in her mind, the seashell pendant glimmering faintly in his hand, the sadness in his smile. Something about his words lingered. It's more like gravity. The next morning, she went to the pool early. The sun had barely risen. The water was still, untouched. But Ethan wasn't there. Instead, on one of the lounge chairs, she found a small folded note, and beside it, the seashell pendant. She hesitated, then opened the note. If she returns and asks for me, tell her I waited until the end of the night. Her hands trembled slightly. She looked around, but there was no sign of him. Just then, a woman's voice called softly from behind her. Excuse me, do you know if someone named Ethan was here? Maya turned. Standing a few feet away was a woman in her mid-30s. The morning sun painted the water in pale gold, but the warmth didn't reach Maya's skin. She stood frozen, holding the note and the seashell pendant, staring at the woman who had just appeared, the one Ethan had waited for all night. Yes, Maya whispered finally. He was here. He waited for you by the pool. The woman's expression softened, and her voice trembled. I was afraid of that. I came too late. She stepped closer to the pool, looking down at her reflection, calm, quiet, like time itself had stopped for her. He always loved this place, she murmured. It was where everything began and ended. Maya wanted to ask what had happened between them, but something about the woman's silence made her stop. Instead, she offered the pendant. He left this for you. The woman took it carefully, her fingers brushing the cool silver. A tear slipped down her cheek before she could hide it. He kept it all these years. Maya's heart tightened. She wanted to say something comforting, but before she could, the woman spoke again, softly, as if talking to herself. My name is Elena, she said. We met here 12 years ago. He was a guest, and I was, well, almost like you, working part-time by the pool. He used to say that I smiled like summer, that no matter how tired the world was, I made it feel new again. She laughed quietly, bitterly. Then life happened. He moved abroad for work, I stayed here. We promised to meet again one summer, but we never did. Maya listened in silence. The morning breeze stirred the water, sending ripples across the surface, as if the pool itself was listening too. Elena looked around, her eyes tracing every corner of the place, the chairs, the umbrellas, the old lifeguard stand. When he called last week, she continued, I almost didn't answer. I thought it was too late for old promises. But then he said, just one more evening by the pool. Foreclosure. Her voice broke. I thought I'd have more time. Maya wanted to tell her that maybe he'd return again, that he had to be somewhere nearby, but deep down, she knew that wasn't true. There had been something final in Ethan's note. Still, something in her refused to let the moment end that way. Wait here, Maya said suddenly. There's something you should see. She ran to the reception office and checked the night logbook. Ethan's name was there, Ethan Cole, room 214. She took the master key and hesitated for a moment before going upstairs. The door opened easily. The room was neat, untouched. The bed was made, suitcase closed. On the desk lay an envelope addressed simply, Elena. Her hands trembled as she picked it up and returned to the pool. Elena was still there, staring into the water like she was searching for memories at the bottom of it. Maya handed her the envelope. He left this too. Elena hesitated, then opened it. Inside was a short handwritten letter. She read silently, but Maya could see the tears glistening on her lashes. Asterisk Elena. I came back to see if the water still remembered us. It did. The light danced the same way. I wanted to tell you that I forgive the years, the silence, the distance, even myself. If you come and I'm gone, don't be sad. Just sit by the pool and listen. Every wave is still our laughter. Love doesn't disappear. It just finds new forms. Ethan. Asterisk. Elena pressed the letter to her chest and closed her eyes. He always wrote like this, she whispered. Always too deep for his own heart. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Only the wind moved, carrying the faint sound of the sea from beyond the cliffs. Finally, Maya said softly, "Maybe he wanted you to let go." Elena nodded, though her tears kept falling. Maybe. But letting go doesn't mean forgetting. She stood, walked to the edge of the pool, and held the seashell pendant over the water. The sunlight caught it, making it shimmer, the same way Ethan's eyes had the night before. Then she released it. The pendant sank slowly, spinning as it went, until it disappeared into the deep blue. Maya felt her own throat tighten. "Why did you let it go?" Elena turned, smiling through her tears. "Because that's where it belongs. This pool was always ours. Now it'll always hold a part of him." For the rest of the morning, they sat together in silence. Two strangers bound by someone else's love story. And in that quiet, Maya realized something. She hadn't just witnessed an ending, but a beginning. When Elena finally left, she turned to Maya and said, "You remind me of myself when I was your age. Don't wait too long for life to happen to you. Go find it." Maya watched her disappear down the path lined with palm trees, the white of her dress glowing in the sunlight. That evening, after work, Maya went back to the pool. The resort was quiet. The day's guests had gone. She looked down at the water, imagining the seashell lying peacefully at the bottom. She sat on the same chair Ethan had used and thought about everything that had happened in just one day. A man waiting, a woman returning, a love that lasted beyond time. As the first stars appeared, Maya whispered to herself, "Love doesn't disappear. It just finds new forms." She didn't know why, but she smiled, softly, with a kind of hope she hadn't felt in years. Maybe Ethan was right. Maybe love really was like gravity. It always found a way to pull hearts back together, even if only through memories. The pool lights shimmered, reflecting the night sky. Somewhere, far away, a quiet breeze brushed the surface, carrying with it a whisper that seemed to say, "Thank you for waiting." Maya closed her eyes and listened, and in that stillness, she felt something warm bloom inside her. Not sadness, but peace. The next morning, guests would return, laughter would fill the air again, and life would go on. But Maya would always remember that evening. The stranger who waited by the pool, the woman who came too late, and the truth they both left behind.